Hello, everyone. This is PamelaTopjian. Today, we're going to talk about self-care, what it actually is, and how it might change at different stages of your life, and different ways that you can make sure you give yourself self-care. So, what self-care means to each person is really going to be different, right? Of course. I've done a lot of videos where I talk about different forms of self-care. And one of the playlists on this channel, if you go to the channel page, you see the tabs across the top. There is a playlist that starts out with self-care. I think it's self-care, self-help, information, blah, 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 something. But if you click on that one, there's all kinds of topics on self-care. To me, it's more of how we take care of ourselves, mind, body, and soul, giving yourself the time that you would to your children or even to your friends, and giving yourself grace when you make mistakes, just like you would with a friend or your children, letting them know that sometimes mistakes happen, and as long as we learn from them, it's not really a mistake, right? So giving yourself that same grace. A friend recently mentioned, and I think many women and people in general feel this same way, that when we're busy in our young adult lives, oftentimes we're raising children and working, and some of us are even adding on, getting more education on top of all of that. We can really forget those little things like looking at the sky, the clouds, the birds, and the trees, or the stars and the moon. These moments in our day can help us to just exhale, bring a smile to our faces, help us feel grounded, help us feel that pure joy that nature can give to us. I truly feel that this is a part of our ancestral heritage, to get a sense of wonder and a sense of oneness with all living things, with the world and the universe, just by noticing these things in nature. So that might be getting a little off topic, but I think it's also important to have a hobby outside of your work. I know sometimes it's so hard, but it really helps to balance everything out. Make that time. Prioritize, organize, delegate chores. Let your family know that every whatever, Tuesday evening, Sunday evening, whatever it is, that you're going to do this yoga class, or you're going to this book club, or you're going to a sound bath event, or get a Reiki session or a massage. Or if you have a partner, have a regular date night. Now, if you have younger children, you may need to plan ahead a little bit more, but it will be so worth it. If you put things off until later, that time may never come. It's not at all unusual for people to put things off for someday, or waiting for the perfect timing, just to end up with a life-altering illness or injury. Or their spouse or partner has something happen, and then they end up being a caregiver. Make memories and have these experiences while you still can. So many older people end up being bored in retirement, or they feel lonely. They don't even know who they are sometimes, and some of them will even say, I don't know what I even like anymore. So set those things up for yourself before retirement, so you're already used to doing things outside of your work life or even your home life. So I think that self-care is often thought of as like a bubble bath, or flowers, candles, getting a facial or a mani-pedi, or buying that expensive perfume or that purse for yourself or whatever it is. But on a deeper level, it's really how you show yourself self-love and self-respect. If you have children, it can feel selfish sometimes, I know, but you're also showing them by example how important self-care is, and to have personal hobbies and interests for yourself. Setting boundaries at work and at home, so it doesn't feel like everything is on your shoulders, so you're not bending over backwards to make everyone else comfortable. I think this is a big part of self-care as well, and it shows self-respect, which also helps others to know that you're not their doormat or you're not their servant. It can sound like a luxury, and I've been there, believe me. I would have laughed at a video about self-care earlier in my life. So, the advice I would give for someone who has less than no time and maybe even less than zero money, take a walk, go to a park, listen to a podcast or some music. Do something that takes you out of the house, away from your usual scenery and your worries and responsibilities, be it your home life or your work life. You need your own separate time and space away from it all. If you find yourself overwhelmed and lonely, having someone to talk to is a huge part of self-care. It can be a therapist or a counselor, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be a trusted friend, just to have somebody that you can communicate with. And it's not necessarily sharing your worries and your concerns and problems with, but just having someone to talk to about your day-to-day life, what's going on with you, what's going on with them. You can just talk about anything. And it just can feel good to have like a regular back and forth conversation. Make sure it's not always one person and somebody like trauma dumping on you and you're there for them. Then that starts to feel like an obligation and a responsibility as well. So you have to keep those things in check also. But also, you can check your insurance if you have insurance for therapy sessions. So often we think of our insurance just for when we're sick physically, but even if you're not going through anything traumatic, it can help to have a regular counselor, regular therapy sessions, just to talk through your feelings, your emotions, what's going on in your life. And we don't think about our insurance maybe paying for some of those sessions, because a lot of times they will. Or, like I said, text a friend that you haven't heard from in a while. Ask how they're doing. Ask if they would have time for a call or sometime that week, or even to get together for coffee if they don't live too far. It's so much more important than you think. I promise you. So please share in the comments ways that you have prioritized self-care. What are some little things that you do just for you? What ways have you found to have a separate life away from home or from work? And how has this changed over time in your life? Or what interests do you have that you haven't taken the time to explore yet? So I hope that you found something of value here today. And as always, I wish you all so much peace, so much love, and healing. Thank you for being here.